The secret that shattered my world. I never thought my life would take such a devastating turn, but here I am, broken and searching for answers. For 5 years, I built my world around Jimmy, the man I thought I'd marry in just a couple of months. He was my best friend, my safe place, and the person I trusted more than anyone. I thought I knew him inside out, but in a single moment, everything I believed was destroyed by a secret so horrifying I can barely breathe as I write this. When Jimmy and I first started dating, my parents didn't approve. I was only 20, fresh into university, and they thought he'd distract me from my studies. But I loved him with all my heart. I believed that if they met him, they'd see what a kind, thoughtful and charming person he was. I was especially close to my mum and shared everything with her. One evening I sat on her bed and begged her to meet Jimmy. I wanted her to see the man I loved so I could date him openly without hiding. After weeks of asking, she finally agreed. When my mom met Jimmy, they clicked right away. It felt like a victory for me because I knew how incredible he was, and I wanted my family to love him too. Encouraged by my mom's approval, I introduced Jimmy to my dad a few months later. While he was initially hesitant, my dad eventually warmed up to him. Over the years, my mom and Jimmy grew close, maybe too close. My mom would light up whenever Jimmy was around, but I didn't think much of it. I figured it was natural for them to bond since I wanted my family to love Jimmy as much as I did. She often cooked his favourite meals when he visited, and he'd bring her little gifts, thanking her for her hospitality. Sometimes, when I wasn't home, Jimmy would drop by to chat with my mum. I didn't see any red flags. I thought it was sweet that they got along so well. When Jimmy proposed, my parents were thrilled. They both adored him, and I felt like the luckiest woman alive. But that happiness came crashing down a few weeks ago. One evening, while Jimmy was in the shower, his phone buzzed with a notification. I'd always known his password, but had never felt the need to check his phone. That night, something pushed me to pick it up. I opened the message, and the words staring back at me made my heart stop. The message was from someone named Ford. At first I thought it might be a work contact, but the texts told a very different story. They were from a woman, and it was clear Jimmy was having an affair. My heart pounded as I scrolled further, and that's when I saw the most devastating part. He had a 2-year-old son with her. My world crumbled. The man I loved, the man I was about to marry, had betrayed me in the worst way. For 5 years I thought we had built a future together, but he had been living a double life. I stormed toward the bathroom, ready to confront him, when something else caught my attention. The woman called him by a name that felt strangely familiar. Confused, I clicked on her contact, and then my entire body froze. The name attached to her number was my mum's. My knees buckled as I stood there, paralyzed by the horrifying realization. Jimmy wasn't cheating on me with some stranger. He was cheating on me with my mum. Jimmy came out of the shower and saw me holding his phone. His face drained of colour when he realised what I'd discovered. At first he tried to deny it, but I couldn't even speak. I just stared at him, waiting for an explanation. Finally he broke down and confessed. He admitted their affair had started a year after we began dating and had continued for years. And the child? My 3-year-old baby brother, the one I adored with all my heart, wasn't my dad's son. He was Jimmy's. That night I confronted my mum. She fell to her knees, sobbing and begging for forgiveness. She said she didn't know what came over her, that she felt possessed and tried to stop the affair but couldn't. She begged me not to tell my dad, saying it would destroy our family and hurt my little brother. I was furious, hurt and confused. The 2 people I trusted most had been betraying me for years. My dad, who still believes my little brother is his biological child, has no idea. How can I ever look at him again, knowing this truth? As for Jimmy, I'm done with him. There's no way I could ever forgive him for what he's done to me. He was supposed to be my forever, but now I can't even bear to say his name without feeling sick. But Now I'm left with an impossible choice. Do I tell my dad the truth and risk tearing my family apart? Or do I bury this secret forever to protect him and my little brother? Someone, please tell me, how do I move forward from this? How do I even begin to heal when the people I trusted most destroyed my life?